the 100 season 2 episode 2, Inclement Weather. A really, really good episode that's going to lead to a lot of really great moments for this season. My favorite part, I think, has to be the Jaha thing with everything that happened with him. The baby being fake, which I guess they sort of foreshadow with the fact that the baby had like a random chess piece that kind of came out of nowhere. I just thought that baby kind of could have had it on him. I mean, the baby was really just left by someone in a drawer, so who knows what the baby could really have on it. But it kind of made sense to me. It was like someone had a baby that they were hiding. They probably didn't want to take the baby because they still knew with everything that's going on, this baby will probably end up dying anyway, and I don't want to live with the fact that this baby could easily die because of me on Earth and through all these just billions of issues that we could possibly have when we get down there. And it just made perfect sense that someone would have left that baby because they wouldn't want that kind of responsibility, which they were, of course, hiding anyway because of all the rules on the ark. So it made perfect sense to me that there would be a baby. And then Jaha actually going insane while being stuck in space by himself was actually really, really cool and something I didn't expect. And it was great to see him actually escape because after that happened and he reached in and it's just blue cloth and he was losing his mind, when he actually got on the missile and he was supposed to like be on Earth, I was really curious, like, is he actually on Earth? Did he even, is he still in the control room? Did he even get up off of that table after he turned the power off? Is any of this actually happening? And it's just going to turn out that he's still up in the arc in space and he's just, the oxygen deprivation is far worse than he thought. It was like so many illusions happening at one time, he didn't even realize he was just still sitting in the chair. So it was great to see that he actually escaped. And as soon as he was in the missile and they showed where he was headed towards Earth, I knew he wasn't going to land where they were going to land. I figured it wouldn't be too crazy. Honestly, it looked like it was almost like Antarctica or something, like one of the poles. And I thought that would be a little too extreme because there's no possible way he could actually get from one location to another because he doesn't know. Like, they might have had maps, I'm sure, on the ark, but it's like, that doesn't mean he knows where the heck he is and which way to go to get to Earth and all this stuff. So I thought that would be far too extreme if that did happen. And fortunately, it doesn't. He ends up, I believe it was like New York, maybe that's what that bridge was. I can't think of it. I know the bridge looks really familiar. I just can't think of exactly where it was. And I think this is the reason we actually got a real opening in this episode, which I was very surprised by when they did that, because typically it's just the 100 and then poof. Like pretty much every series today is like boom, title shot, and then back to the episode. And we got an actual opening where it spans across all sorts of things. We see monuments, we see New York, we see the Statue of Liberty sort of covered over. And it was a really cool opening. I actually loved it, mostly because of the fact that it actually went over the Earth inside of the universe of this TV show. So it was really cool to see all these different things. And Jaha's storyline is gonna be probably my favorite part. I mean, as much as I love all the characters and what they're doing now, Jaha is seriously by himself. It brings up a million questions. Who's he gonna run into? Is he gonna be able to get back to the rest of the group? Just all sorts of things. Who's he gonna meet? All these questions arise from where he is, and right now it's just sand everywhere. So he's pretty much just out in the open. So that will make it fairly easy for him to spot anything if he doesn't end up seeing a bunch of mirages, which is the typical thing. So he might just end up going crazy in the sand instead of in space. But that was my favorite part because it had so many twists to it, or mostly it was just the one big twist. But that was really good. And then the fact that he landed somewhere that isn't even remotely close, as far as we know, isn't even remotely close. And the 100 and I guess the people that came down from the ark, they're in Washington. So I guess he's fairly close. I guess if he is in New York, and I'm right about that, then he is fairly close. He still wouldn't exactly know where he is and which way is, up and down as far as getting to where they are. But it'll be really cool to see how that storyline plays out compared to the regular storyline, which seems like it's getting really, really cool now, especially with the big reveal at the end of this episode. And Clark finding the people just being hung upside down. It's like a weird, sort of semi-cannibal type of thing where they're like draining the humans, but at the same time they're draining these people who are the grounders, who are their pretty much natural born enemies, I guess. and they're using their blood to heal everyone that comes in. Which I noticed in the last episode when Clark actually held the woman and she kind of cut her hand. I noticed the thing in their chest, and it was like blood was going out and blood was coming in, and it made perfect sense. Like she's infected, in a sense, because of the whole contamination thing. So basically, all of her blood is going out, and new blood does have to technically come from somewhere. And we see they're getting blood from the Grounders, which I don't know how that affects them. I mean, the one guy was basically burned to a crisp, and somehow he was just like magically healed, which I don't see how that's really explained through their blood, but there could be all sorts of different things with them being basically us. Like if we were exposed to the sort of radiation in the 100, it would be very extreme compared to the Grounders. So we don't really know all the science behind all this stuff. I'm sure we'll get some sort of quick explanation, but that was really cool. A great reveal at the end that really has me excited for next week's episode. But everything they did with the Grounders I thought was really good. Octavia was really cool in this episode. She saved Lincoln. And then, unfortunately, they get attacked by Reapers and they just swoop in as a group and just take a bunch of people. So I'm excited to see how that plays out because the Reapers are like the bad thing to everyone. They're just like crazy cannibals. So I'm excited to see how that comes into play in next week's episode, especially since it'll kind of blend Octavia's storyline with Clark's storyline, and then that'll probably blend into Bellamy and Finn going back out and looking for everyone because they're like the main characters. So I'm sure they'll just like fall in line and just poof, hey, we're all together again. But overall, I love the episode. We got to see a lot of cool stuff with the actual people that came from the arc, and it's already falling apart. I mean, Abby, who I really loved in this episode, especially with the ending where she was helping them escape and was like, bring everybody back, bring them home. I really loved that. And then the guy who is our current chancellor, and I cannot ever remember that guy's name, he's sort of falling back into the way where he was sort of corrupt when they were actually on the arc, but at the same time he's doing it in a really good way. At least he's trying to keep everyone safe, and when he saw the people when they were hung up on the trees, it was a real message to him. So he's trying to do everything he can to fight against these people who really have a bigger advantage despite the fact that they have worse technology. So it'll be crazy to see I guess politics, it still exists even though they've landed on Earth. They're still gonna have those crazy politics where one person wants to do one thing and then another person wants to do another thing. So it's still gonna be a really interesting dynamic as far as just the camp goes. And then, like I said, of course, Jaha being wherever he is on Earth is definitely gonna be the thing I'm looking forward to most in every single episode. But overall, definitely a great episode. I love this one more than the premiere actually because so much craziness happened. Of course, comment below, let me know what you guys thought about this one, your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And with Jaha being possibly in New York, I'll just say he's in New York, what do you want to see from his storyline? Because honestly, they've opened up, it's almost an entirely new world considering the fact that he's in another state. It's almost like an entirely different planet with it being like post-apocalyptic and everything. They're in like the nature sort of area and he's in the desert wasteland. So what do you guys want to see from that? I don't know what I want to see specifically, but I just want to see who's he going to run into and if he's ever going to get back with the 100, which I feel like he kind of will just because, honestly, it's television. But I'd love it even if he didn't. It would be kind of sad, but at the same time, it would be very unique and amazing to me. But comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.